Welcome back, everyone, to episode 309 of the Craftverse series. Last episode, we got the majority of this underground bunker finished out and included our ladder path all the way up into the duper setup. And in between, I have gone ahead and added in the lighting and finished up all of the walls. The one thing I haven't done is finished up the flooring and ceiling. So we're going to go ahead and start with that. And then I have quite a bit of removal to do. Not in here, by the way. Yeah, I've finally figured out what I want to do with my central area outside. And I'm going to be removing the little bridge that I built that I was so proud of. I'm actually going to be replacing it with something much cooler. Honestly, that bridge has outlived its usefulness. I don't walk it very much anymore, since I have so many other pathways I can traverse. I also have used that as a template to build several other bridges. So it has been useful, but it's time for it to be replaced by something that I would much rather use. Can't wait to get to that point to show you. But let's focus on this for now. Got the entire floor removed, and now we're going to be darkening it up with some spruce floor and ceiling. And one of these little divots has a bit of an issue. You might notice once we get into that room that there is some dripping going on. It's not water, unfortunately. Water I could more easily deal with and it wouldn't cause as many issues. But thankfully I have fire tick off because it's a lava pool. I had to block up quite a bit of it as I was adding in the walls. The ceiling is going to potentially cause a problem. Don't think it's this room, but let's see. It would be right about here if it was. And do we see any lava dripping? No. Do we hear any lava? Faintly. It might not be this room. It might be the next room. Well, we're going to find out, but just in case, I'm going to eat my enchanted golden apple, which gives me some fire res. Even though it doesn't show up on the side anymore, it does actually give me the fire res. So let's see if this is the room that has the lava. It appears not. So it's the room directly to the left, which is going to be interesting when I get to that point. But this means I don't have to worry about my wood being in contact with lava. Because if fire tick ever gets automatically turned on for whatever reason, all the chests that would be making contact diagonally would be set ablaze, and if I have a ton of items in there, those get caught on fire, and yeah. That's why I play with fire tick off. Call it what you want. I call it self-preservation. Because if that many items that I plan on putting in here all pop out of shulker boxes at once, let's just say I'm chunk banned. Kind of like my house was until I recently started restructuring where everything has been stored. I'm trying to mitigate that by stretching out the storage to multiple different buildings. This one is still 7? It's 6 or 7 different sets of 16 per level. So this is 2 in here. There's 2 in that one. There's 2 in that one. And then there's one each in here, so it's actually 8. 8 sets of 16. So wow, I didn't realize there was 8, honestly. Plus whatever's in these chests, because this is all going to be wood also. Down here, though, I'm going to be covering that with gray carpet. That's definitely going to help not blind us so much. But let me go ahead and get my wood prepped. Don't make that sound weird. Some people will, but don't do it because it's weird. You shouldn't do that. Save weirdness like that for the streams. Leave it out of my comments section, you know. Okay, here we are. This part is in. Let's go ahead and stretch this over to the opposite side. Not going to worry so much about those. I just want to make sure I don't accidentally cover over something. I don't think I can because there's a ladder there, but still, I don't want it to become an issue in any capacity. So let's bring this all the way down. Now, do we see lava dripping? Sometimes it takes a minute. Yep, there it is. So this is the one that has the lava drip. How long do I have? Well, let's just eat another one. So reset it. Yep, 5 minutes. Okay, so it's a little bit higher up than that. All right, so if you're all the way up there, then I'm not too concerned. Because that's as far over as it's going to go. You're less likely to have connectivity with the lava. If you can't tell by the block palette, I am kind of modeling this level out of like the ancient city. There is some spruce found in there, but for the most part it is dark oak. Although I thought dark oak would be just a bit too dungeony for a storage system. At least this type of storage system. If you were making a dungeon-like storage system, then yeah, by all means. Plus the spruce actually pops pretty well with these redstone lamps. I wanted to call them sea lanterns because I was looking at a sea lantern a moment ago, but they're not sea lanterns. I don't think you could find these in an ocean monument. Maybe if someone did a custom build. That might be interesting to have an underwater base. Perhaps one of these days we'll build an underwater base. Let me know in the comments. Is that something that you've done? If so, how large did you go? Did you go like epic style or just enough to live out of? Some builders just use enough footprint for a couple chests, maybe a bed. Though I don't imagine you'd be getting much sleep on Bedrock Edition underwater, because I don't think they let you do that anymore. At least I haven't been able to on Bedrock Edition. I started in 119, so if that tells you anything of what mechanics were available. we did have an interesting XP glitch when I joined. I don't know how long it was available, but I used it quite a bit, although I never got up to the levels that I have currently. I was excited just to have like 40 or 80 levels. I got one account up to 200, and then they patched it out with a release. Like, aw, ruined my fun. It was simple! Why'd you have to ruin the simple ones? Like, not everyone's gonna do it. Especially people doing challenge runs where you can't do certain things aren't going to break their challenge run in order to do that. And I don't even know if it was in Java. I know it was in Bedrock. Remember the glitch I'm talking about where you could take a stack of given ore? The best thing you could do, obviously, was ancient debris, but some people were using gold and getting decent results. Back then we didn't have the duping glitches that we have now. But they would put one of an ore in the furnace. Just a regular old furnace would be best because you get like half the experience from a blast furnace. But if you're doing it a bunch of times, duping the experience, it wouldn't really matter. But they would smelt the one item, and then they would take a stack of already smelted and just swap them out back and forth. And that would give you the full stack's amount of experience every time you withdrew the full stack by swapping it with your switch item button. And let me tell you, you got a lot of XP real quick. It was convenient for mending your tools. It was convenient for enchanting. Not so convenient if you messed up the button timing. Some people just took the full stack instead of swapping it and then had to resmelt another item. But it was an easy setup to fix. It wasn't life-changing or anything. It wasn't breaking the game. I guess by that extent you could say any glitch is breaking the game, but it wasn't actually hurting anyone. They just don't like including fun glitches in their game. And I guess from a development standpoint, I can understand. You want your game to be fairly difficult, but playable. But you don't want someone to be able to cheese it quite that way. But from a player standpoint, come on. You want to be able to do things pretty early on. And some of those things require feather falling, and sometimes you just don't get good rolls on the enchantment table. I would not personally want to build a mob grinder until I had feather falling, just on the off chance I got knocked off by something like, oh, I don't know, the phantoms that they put in the game. Primarily those, because as you're up there building, you either have a water bucket or you're ill-prepared, and you don't. And I'll be honest, I have more than once forgotten to bring it because I was just so ready to get up there and start building it. Learned my lesson pretty quickly with that. So now I try to make sure that I am as prepared as possible before I start a given build, and sometimes that doesn't go as planned. Sometimes I change my mind mid-build, so the preparation is kind of moot. I think we're all guilty of doing that as builders. Maybe not everyone who plays the game, because not everyone who plays the game is a builder, but every builder has gone through a phase where they just decide mid-build, I don't really like this palette, I'm going to switch it up. Ooh, that sounds good, I'm going to try doing this. Oh man, now I have to go gather that material. Ah, 2 extra hours of my life gone. Yeah, that's a thing. So that's why I don't mind doing a little bit of duping now and then. just to give myself that little cushion of, oh, I actually have time to do things instead of just spending 40 hours grinding because I don't have the AFK capabilities of a Java player. Now, you could say Bedrock does have the ability to go AFK, but I am not on a PC. I certainly wouldn't be leaving my PC on overnight because we have frequent power outages where I live, and that would be just asking to shoot myself in the foot. And if it was going to happen, I certainly wouldn't be asking for it. I'm sure some people would be into that, but I am not into shooting myself in the foot. Sometimes it just happens, you know? Not literally, obviously, or I wouldn't have feet by the amount of times that I've done it. It's a figure of speech. Alright, so now everything that's visible in the ceiling across all but one segment has been done. Now we go ahead and get the flooring for this one. And then I'll get the chests in off camera because that is just an obscenely long process that sometimes is a pain in the butt. And it doesn't really give you any benefit as a viewer to watch me place chests 50,000 times. How you orient your chests is entirely up to you. I like to angle mine so it's like when you walk into a room, it opens away from you. Not like you have to reach over the trunk lid and try and pull it open, because you're not really seeing what you're doing at that point, if that's what you're doing. I mean like this, where you're looking right at the lock, and it opens that way. That's how I want all of my chests to open. So as I come here, they're going to open that way in this direction. Or if I go here, they're going to open that way from this direction, which is reversed from this hallway. But I'm going to do a mixture of the two back here. Whereas everything from this side to the wall opens top up this way, and then I turn around and mimic it going the other direction. So that's about all you really need to know about how I'm placing the chests. Everything else is just, you already know how chests go. That said, I am carving out the flooring and ceiling 8 times. Well, 6 times, because a couple of those sets are in the same room. Okay, here's the floor out. Now we add this in. And I don't explicitly have to add the one that's underneath the stairs. I could have actually put all the lanterns underneath the stairs and just had the light sources above and below there. That would have kind of given it more of a dungeony vibe. But I like to have my stuff fully visible. Oop. Okay, everything's stuck. Sometimes when there's an audio glitch like that, it doesn't want to actually stick for me. Some rubber banding goes into that. Okay, everything is going smoothly. Which makes me think that the chicken I'm hearing is actually a time bomb and it's all going to explode by chicken. Can you imagine if someone had set a time bomb and instead of a beep, 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 it was just a chicken clucking progressively more aggressively? That sounds like someone from a farm got added to the expendables, to be honest. And I would not put it past somebody for being crazy enough to do that. Heck, I'm pretty sure a game modder would do that. Call of Duty, but all the bombs are chickens? Unnecessary mods that no one in their right mind would bother adding. Although I guess the argument could be made that if you're downloading a mod that makes downloading bombs more stressful, you're not exactly in your right mind. Did I say downloading bombs? Diffusing bombs. At this point, I'm pretty sure my brain is just a ever-clucking chicken. No, you cannot diffuse my brain. People have tried. It has not yet worked. The only thing that can diffuse my brain is lack of sustenance and sleep. And I do that to myself on the regular. Well, I say it diffuses it, but it mostly just makes the chicken in my brain go nuts. That picks up all the items that are falling. Now I need to get a bunch of the gray carpets from the floors above. Right, where's the wood? I didn't use nearly as much wood as I would have expected, no pun intended. So now we run upstairs. I need to get a gold pressure plate and a dark oak fence. Fence gate, not fence. Wool. Surprised I could still hear chickens from the other side. Maybe enough. Not that much carpet that I need. Let's bring this dungeony vibe together. First off, we need to remove these, and for right now, just place them right here. That way they don't get in the way of the flooring. And we'll start from back here. Because the main color of carpet or wool that you'll find in an ancient city is the gray with the occasional light blue. I believe there's a cyan in there as well. But I use cyan quite heavily in other builds, including one of the next ones that I'm going to be building in this particular world. So let's change it up a bit. This immediately makes a dramatic effect on the hallway. It's not quite so in-your-face blinding as this one. Quite the contrast. This is like the fork in the road meme. Which direction would you go? Personally, I'd probably go the brightly lit one so I didn't have to worry about not seeing where I'm stepping. And again, you wouldn't be able to see much of anything at all because it's so bright. It depends on what the brightness level of the road actually is. Is the road, I don't know, the way we're seeing it currently, or is it like the surface of the sun bright? That will definitely change my opinion on which road I'll take. This right here changes things dramatically. So much softer lighting. Softer yet darker. Take that out and just put all of the carpet in. So that's gonna go upstairs. We're done with you, we're done with you. Done with these for now. Not quite done with you, but we are done with this. And that's the wood, and that's the other deep slate. So now we just chuck these up at the top. I'm gonna get a couple of these in just because they're end cap pieces. And because those are stairs, this will still open. We're gonna get the majority of these chests in off camera. So I'm gonna do a quick little pause and you'll see what it looks like at the very end so I don't have to come down here until I'm ready to actually store things here. So I will see you in a moment. It is done. All of the chests are in. And I almost used an entire shulker box of chests between the level above this and this level. So I hope you appreciate just how thick this storage unit is with chests. Now, this was a coloration of the original one designed by Time Runner. I still have to get that gold pressure plate and the additional fence gate, but we're going to go grab that right now. This was the original. It's just stone, bricks, and birch. And we went progressively darker with it, where I decided to go tough bricks and jungle, and then deep slate and spruce. Saw green there for a second there. Was there a slime bouncing around? Weird. Anyway, let's go grab those pieces that we need, and then I can finish this off. Don't happen to have any of those pieces, do you? No, that's just stone bricks. Honestly, I'm going to leave the stone cutter there in case I decide to extend this for any reason. This area is going to get a bit more homey moving forward because this little bridge is going to be removed soon and these frogs are going to have a new home slightly higher than they currently are. That's going to be quite a bit of removal. And this is also going to be moved over there now. So that's going to be some even more demo. I'm going to need to repair my tools between episodes so we can do that because there's quite a bit of silk touchable material and my silk touch pick is not good. It's not good. But that's fine. I have literally tons upon tons of healing that I can do. It takes like a minute. It's just very loud and glass breaking sound filled, so trying not to have to do that. Let's go ahead and grab. Oh, I don't have one. Rude. That's fine. Just actually going to take these just in case. Okay, and gold. Do I actually have some gold still down here? Not in any usable format, but it shouldn't be too hard to find some. Dark oak. Perfect. Perfect. We'll just make one of each while I'm down here. Probably going to have to be 2, isn't it? No, let's me make 1. Cool. And that's all I have and all I need. So perfect. Let's deposit the rest of the gold. Come over here, deposit the rest of the planks. You know what? You can actually have the sticks, because that's just a wood variant that anything can use. I already put those back. Slate bricks, tiles, and all of that. I'm not going to need those for what I'm about to have to do, so that's fine. Now I just want to get this build finished before we move on. Luckily, that takes just a couple seconds. And it's actually faster to go about going through this now that I have the alternate route. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay, I thought I left the door up. Nope, I have the button. It's like I'm a spy returning to the scene. Open up the menu. Thank you. Pink. All right. Now there is a couple bits of pale moss I still have in my inventory that I'm going to place down. 3 exact should be. It might be 4. So I actually need to put one there. Nope, I already have that one, and I already have that one. Okay, so it's just the 2. You know what? I'll go ahead and put them right here. Additional spawn proofing is always good. So it was 4, just not for the reasons I thought. That is going to do it for today's episode, and I will see you tomorrow for some demo. I'm quite pleased with this outcome. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and I'll see you next time.